All right, Nora. We always talk about the golden age, and everyone thinks of, like, the glamour, right? The big stars, the huge sets, but I've always wondered what was really going on behind all that?
Oh, absolutely, Mark. And that's exactly what this series, Hollywood's Golden Age Unscripted Stories, is all about, isn't it? People picture this pristine, magical era, but the truth, the actual mechanics of it, they were far more calculated and, almost industrial than people realize. It wasn't just, oh, look, a star. It was a whole, very specific process. And I think that's what makes it so fascinating to dig into, the real nuts and bolts. It's not just the blitz, it's the grind too, you know?
Yeah, the grind. That's a good way to put it. I mean, we've touched on it before, but for our listeners who might be like just tuning in, what's one of those big unscripted stories, or maybe a piece of trivia that really shows that other side?
Okay, so the biggest thing I think that really defines the unscripted nature of the Golden Age is the studio system itself. Like, it was a beast, Mark. We're talking about a time when actors weren't just freelancers picking roles. They were essentially property under long-term contracts, sometimes 7 years or even more. The studios owned them, really. They dictated everything from their hairstyle to who they could socialize with, even sometimes their names. You know, Lucille LeSueur became Joan Crawford because MGM said so. It's wild, right?
Wow. I mean, property really puts it into perspective. So they couldn't just, like, say no to a role or take a vacation? That's a tough existence.
Pretty much. And get this, if a studio didn't have a role for them, they could loan them out to another studio. And the actors still got paid their contract rate, which could be low, while the original studio often made a profit off the loan. It's like a professional sports team trading players, but with, much more personal stakes involved. It's a completely different world from how Hollywood works today, isn't it?
Yeah, totally different. So this idea of star-making machinery, it wasn't just a metaphor, was it? They were literally, like, manufacturing these personas?
Absolutely. It was a very deliberate, almost scientific process, especially at places like MGM, which was known for having more stars than there are in heaven. They had departments dedicated to public relations, image consultants, vocal coaches, acting coaches, all designed to mold talent into a specific, marketable commodity. Think about it. A star wasn't just a talented actor. They were a brand, carefully curated. Their personality, their backstory, even sometimes fictional romances were all part of the package to make them appeal to the masses. It was a factory, really, producing dreams on an assembly line. And it was effective, you know? It created these iconic figures.
So even their personal lives, or what the public thought were their personal lives, that was all part of the script, too, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. The level of control was just staggering. Studios would actively intervene in their stars' private lives to protect their image, especially if it conflicted with their wholesome or, dashing persona. Think about scandals. They'd often be covered up, managed, or even spun into something more palatable. There are so many stories of secret marriages, forced divorces, even manufactured engagements to keep up appearances. It was all about maintaining that perfect, untouchable aura that sold movie tickets. The thing is, well, it came at a huge cost to the individual, of course. Imagine not really being able to be yourself, ever, in public, you know?
I can't even. That's intense. Like, everything was a performance, even off-screen. It makes you wonder about some of those iconic films we love. What was the mood like on set? Were these stars just, like, exhausted from maintaining their public face?
That's wild. I always thought Casablanca was just like perfectly executed from start to finish. So a lot of the magic was really just a lot of quick thinking and maybe a bit of luck then. Absolutely. And you know, for every superstar, there were dozens, hundreds even, of talented actors who didn't quite make it into that top tier or whose stories got lost. We often focus on the legends, but there are so many forgotten voices from the Golden Age, with incredible tales. Stars who burned bright for a moment, character actors who built amazing careers without the huge fame, or those whose lives were tragically cut short. Their stories, the ones that didn't get the big studio PR push, are just as important for understanding the full picture of that era. It wasn't just a handful of giants, it was a whole ecosystem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I think that's what makes this whole series so compelling, Nora. It's like pulling back the velvet curtain and seeing the gears turning. It doesn't diminish the magic, you know? If anything, it makes it even more impressive knowing the true story behind the illusion.